Welcome in, everybody. How are you guys doing? Working on some issues here. 1 second, guys. We have some issues with Amazon. They said they delivered my package, but they didn't. We're trying to get that fixed. And then we'll get started here. Porch pirates. No, I was home. There's no porch pirates. They're scamming. Thanks. Please allow us to resend the items by tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Yes. Great. They're just resending shit. Mossad attacked me and took my package. Yeah. No, but we were at the gym earlier. Then we finished up the video after that. Only did some light cardio. Gotta go in for the weights after the stream. Let me just finish with support here. Today is leg day, so I wanted to do cardio before. Well, the stream just started, dude. Yes, this is live. Thank you. All right. So. That's what I get. I'm trying to order an air filter because the air quality here is shit. And they were already late. Anywho. Oh. In Montana, huh? Salute. Is this live? I'm pausing the chats. Oh my god, somebody super chatted €1. Thank you, brother. Where's your super chat at? Oh, thank you. Appreciate you. I'm surprised you didn't write, is this live? Yeah, it's like a 3,500 square foot air purifier. They're on sale at Amazon. Hey, got a new sub. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Oh yeah, let me get that. Let me get that going actually. So I wanted to compare chats. See which one you guys like. Do you guys? It looks exactly the same actually, huh? The one on the left and the right. Okay. Guess there's not much of a difference, huh? Pagani BC indeed. Let's just put it over here then. And then get rid of that one. Okay. Boomering it up. Making some changes midstream. right. So that chat looks good. Let's go ahead and grab it from here. Copy that. Hope everybody had a good week. Dump it here. Hide this one. Dope. All right. Yeah, so today is this Ascending Goy. We are live. Trailing stops or hard stops? Both. Depends how volatile the market is. GPT 5.4 just dropped. That is also true. It did just drop. It dropped indeed. Cam Conscious. What's up, bro? I'm going to try something. I'm going to make you an OG on Kick for a second. Let's see what that does. Just want to see what that looks like. Roles, VIPs, or a VIP. Let's do that. Add. Done. Bam. Cool. Let's see. Let me refresh. I don't know. It should give you some special something. Anyways, appreciate everybody subscribing on Kick, dude. That's probably the best way to support. We'll get started here shortly. Yeah, I don't know what it does. It's supposed to give you some abilities. You're supposed to have something that says VIP on there, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Anyway. Almost nothing. I think they take only the little couple pennies out of the $5. So it's actually really nice. The gifting of the subs and subbing is really nice. Hey, we have a bot in the chat. There he is, Matthias Fink 7984 from the video early. It gives you the ability. Yeah, it gives you the ability to donate 50 billion to Israel, doesn't it? Yeah, it just says when I give you guys that role, you'll have the VIP badge. And what can VIPs do? Limited to 100 users, no cooldown on clipping. Oh, coins or what? What can an OG do? 50 users get the OG badge. I'll add you to that too. Let me see what it does. Bam. It should give you a badge. I just want to see what it looks like on stream live. But welcome in, everybody. We're going to get started here very shortly. If it doesn't show up, just give it a second to load. Yeah, I don't know. It shows his, I guess it shows his 1 month sub, but not the other ones. I don't know. He has those abilities now. Maybe on the next stream, it updates. Damn, since 2022, dude. Thank you. So updates on the cut. Everything's going well. This is the lightest I've been. Alright, since college. We do have definition coming in. I don't know what's going on with the levels. I gotta kick that bot out because that shit's not supposed to be active. Yeah, that bot is not supposed to be active. Yeah, I'm on a cut. I'm cutting first. I have no number specifically. I just want to get absolutely shredded. So my metabolism and my, body's just functioning at peak. And then I'll go back to maintenance and then slowly build back up. I prefer to clean bulk. I don't like dirty bulky. Makes me feel like shit. But you can see I'll just show you guys, just legs a little bit, just so you can see. You might be able to see something. So quads. There you go. Balanced. As all things should be. So we got the teardrops coming in and all that stuff. And there you go. Did I click on gay porn? Yeah, try not to have a bodybuilder physique where they're like all upper body and like skinny legs. But okay, enough dicking around. Let's get into some of this stuff. By the way, I was thinking I want to get your guys' opinion. I don't know how to do polls on here yet. There's like a little poll button somewhere. Where is this poll shit? Can I do a poll? Timestamps? What is that? That gives you timestamps on here. Goals. Can I do a poll? Engage with your audience. I can start a poll. Okay. Okay, so the poll is, I'm curious. Can Kick do a poll? I think Kick can do a poll through the bots. I don't know how it works though. Okay. We'll just leave it on YouTube for now because it just seems easier. So the poll is like a daily or... Hey, what's going on, Nick? Adam. A daily poll. Sorry, daily poll. Yeah, the ad shit is automatic. It's on YouTube. Poll dot on Kick. What? Yeah, how do you do a poll on Kick? I'm not sure. Anyways, because I look on X often because I'm a nerd with no life. Do you guys want me to do like a daily or, you know, every other day or a weekly kind of snapshot breakdown of what's going on? Kick doesn't have any ads, by the way, guys. Only YouTube. Does it have a, or does it have? Do you want me to do a breakdown from all the news sources, things that are happening? For example, with the Iran war, I've seen a lot of posts from a lot of different accounts that I'm following and paying attention to. And there will be things like, you know, the bombing for the school in Iran. Initially, it was reported by our media here in the West that it was the fault of Iran and a faulty missile that killed something around the mark of 160 little girls at school. Then it was found out that it wasn't Iran's missile. There were local reports in Israel with some ministers talking about, you know, what had actually happened. The targeting was incorrect. We were relying on AI systems, something of that nature. So more information is coming up saying that it wasn't actually Iran who bombed their own school, and it wasn't a false flag in that sense. And it's actually us through Israel admitting that, you know, there were some issues going on with the targeting data, whatever. So we could do stuff like that. Or another one where Iran was being blamed for some drone strike in Cyprus that had targeted the UK's base. Everybody was blaming Iran, and then they had to walk that one back also because the UK confirmed that the drone didn't originate from Iran. So there's so much in the fog of war right now, people don't even know what to believe. Yeah. Another thing that was very controversial, that Mossad had tried to sabotage some of Saudi Arabia's oil refineries. They were blaming the initial, or I would say, initially it was being blamed on Iran. And then some, I don't know what is he, some maybe government official or something like that in relation to the Saudi government Somebody was commentating on the news that, yes, they have confirmed that they've arrested Israeli operatives. This is coming from a guy that is connected to Saudi Arabia, the government or something, a commentator, something. You have to understand that when this information comes out, for example, think of it like this. First, it was called, it's a false flag by Israel. Israel was trying to bomb Saudi Arabia to bait them into going against Iran. And Iran was declining that it was them trying to sabotage or strike the oil refineries. And then everybody in the West was saying, look, Saudis, it was Iran who was doing this. Iran is being blamed for escalating the tensions. And then it turned out to be Israel. And then everybody's pointing the finger at each other. And then finally, we got confirmation from somebody tied to or a citizen of or something like that. I can't remember what his title was, that they have confirmed arrested some Israelis. Now you have to think, in a kingdom of Saudi Arabia, like you say things like this out loud, you get arrested. So the government is okay with you speaking. They don't have freedom of speech there. If this guy's lying and saying that Israelis got arrested when it was really obviously Iranians trying to sabotage some oil refineries, that guy would be getting arrested. He's going to prison. So the fact that he's speaking openly on TV about Saudi Arabia arresting Israelis kind of lets you know what's going on here. At least it moves the needle in that direction. So I'll put this up in the poll right now. Daily snapshot or snapshot in general. Yes or no? We'll put that up. Because I don't know what the interest is of people, because it's a lot, dude, to go through all this information and like parse it for bullshit and, you know, try to get something. And it's not like we're going to confirm things, but it's like, hey, here are 3 threads that are starting to coalesce amongst the truth. Here's what potentially seems more true than false. That's the stuff I'm looking into. Yeah, it's very difficult today. You have to pull. That's why I look at so much information from so many different sources. Their information in the Middle East, our information here, third parties that are independent and have no like skin in the game, then some Telegram groups, then some, you know, other smaller influencers, whatever. You have to look at absolutely everything and try to see like, okay, you know, the UK government saying this happened, Iran saying this happened, Saudi Arabia saying this happened, the United States said this happened. But it's like 2 of those stories are starting to converge on some form of a truth. It seems like this will be the most likely outcome then. You know, if Iran's saying they didn't launch and then the UK is saying, hey, that didn't originate from Iran. Okay, we're starting to triangulate some truth here. I like doing that stuff. It just takes a lot of work. I don't know if people even want that kind of stuff. It puts a target on your back. Yeah. Someone say, yeah. Use AI to figure out what's a lie or not. Dude, AI is shit at that. Hey, Grok, is this real? Is this real? Hey, Grok, is this real? Thanks, Lucas. Yeah, it's nice to be. I actually like streaming. I prefer streaming, actually, just to be able to talk with the chat. Grok, is this true? All right, so overwhelming yes by the people that are mostly in here right now. Okay. Are you, no, you're based on the last video. You need to say fake news and this is AI. Look behind him. It's AI. Grok, is Bo real? People are thinking I'm on some fucking fake background or something. Bro, this is real. This is real. This is just, look. This is real. This is a real wall here. Like people think my background is green screen. Like all this shit is fake. No, we're in actual. I turned a room into a studio. None of this shit is real. It's all fake. It's fake news. This background is all fake. Not convincing enough. It's soundproof padding essentially. Acoustic foam. And people are like, "You're fucking green screen." Suspect. He's suspect with that green screen. What is that background? Oh, you mean what I have my camera set at? What is it? I think it's at 1.8. It's causing the background to blur, the bokeh. Is that coffee even real? Yeah, my IP is in Tel Aviv. Fake news, dude. It's all fake. I'm AI supporting fake news. Is this live? Insane. Should we start with an easy one or go in balls to the wall? Terrified to approach women. 12 realizations that break every man in his 20s. This dude got fired. He lost his $200,000 job because AI. We got some early victims talking about it. Most men are married background noise, or most married men are just background noise. Full force. Let's go balls to the wall. Let's finish off with Iran, and then we'll jump into some of the other general topics. Yeah.
All right, guys, we've got yet another heavy hitter guest and first-time guest on the show. Professor Zhang, he is the star of the popular YouTube channel Predictive History. He uses game theory to analyze past, current, and to predict future geopolitical events. And he joins us now. Professor, great to have you.
Good to see you, sir.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. So, for people who aren't familiar with your work, I wanted to show folks that back in 2024, you made 3 big predictions. 1, that Trump would win. 2, that he would start a war with Iran. And 3, that the U.S. would lose that war. Let's take a listen to that.
In this class this semester, I'm making 3 big predictions, right? First is that Trump will win in November. Second is that the United States will go to war against Iran. And the third big prediction is that the United States will lose this war, which will forever change the global order.
So obviously that last one is the only one that has not yet come to fruition. Is quite a stunning prediction. You know, do you stand by it, and what have you seen so far that leads you to sort of stand firm in that conclusion?
So given my analysis of how the war is progressing, I think that Iran has many more advantages over the United States. The reality is that right now, it's a war of attrition between the United States and Iran. And the Iranians have been preparing 20 years for this conflict. In their eschatology, in their religion, this is a war against the great Satan. They've had many practice runs. Last June was a 12-day war when the Iranians were able to examine and analyze the strike capacities of both the Israelis and the Americans. And they've had a lot of time, 8 months, to prepare fully for this new attack. They, through their proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Shia militias, have been able to really grasp the American mentality. And now they have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire. So what the Iranians are doing is they're waging war against the entire global economy. And so they are striking the GCC countries. And not only are they striking GCC countries, American bases, but they're going after the critical energy infrastructure of these bases. They blocked off the Strait of Hormuz. And eventually, they will go after the water desalination plants, which is the lifeblood of these nations because they don't have fresh water supply. In fact, the water desalination plants provides 60% of the GCC's water supply. So if a drone, and these drones cost $50,000, if they wiped out a desalination plant in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it's a city of 10 million people, right? They'd be out of water in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And right now, the Iranians have de facto closed off the Strait of Hormuz, and the GCC gets 90% of its food from the Strait of Hormuz. So I know a lot of people are talking about the disruptions to the global economy, but right now, the Iranians are actually threatening the very existence of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar. And why this is important is that the Gulf states are really the linchpin of the American economy. So what they do is they sell petrodollars and then they recycle the petrodollars back into the American economy through the investments in the stock market. And right now, we know that the entire American economy is propped up by AI investments in data centers. And a lot of that comes from the Gulf states. So if the Gulf states are no longer able to sell oil and they're no longer able to finance AI, this AI bubble in the United States, then this AI bubble will burst, and with it will burst as well the entire American economy, which is really a financial Ponzi scheme.
Right.
So that's a dire situation that the Americans are facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, sir, an Amazon data center was literally hit in the UAE. And now, of course, big tech companies, which were looking at the UAE as a major potential data center investment hub with cheap and abundant energy, probably going to be rethinking that. We also wanted to talk to you about munitions. We can put this next one up here on the screen. The United States is racing to accomplish Iran mission before munitions run out. This is specifically around interceptor math. There's a famous video just from yesterday in Israel, which shows a single Iranian ballistic missile, which is being targeted by some 11 different interceptors, all of which miss. Most of those come from the United States.
There's also videos of them showing these underground bases that they've dug where they're building hundreds of these a month, and it's only costing them an average of like $35,000. And our interceptors are costing us hundreds of thousands, if not millions, per interceptor. And they're just absolutely flooding the skies. They make 500 shaheeds a day. Is it 500? I read a month. So I read something differently. 500 a day would be insane. I read 400 a month is what they're currently producing. Not sure. Yeah, a month. It's a monthly figure. Okay, yeah. And we don't produce anywhere near that interceptor amount. So they're just saturating the skies. And it's a war of attrition because Iron Dome, the Arrow system, THAAD, all that stuff eventually will run out of interceptors. And once the skies are opened up, that's when they launch their good stuff. So it's kind of like a tiered approach that they've developed based on what happened with the first bombing and all the critical data they got from the initial strikes into the Iron Dome last year. And so they retooled their strategy. So now it's just it's like a race against the clock. We have to knock out all their production we have, which we can't because it's all deep underground. They also have a kind of novel way to deliver the weapons. I've seen them come off of boxed trucks. They look like any normal truck that's delivering stuff, an 18-wheeler. And some of them are even launched off of trucks. And I've even seen other launch platforms that are essentially, it just looks like a patch of dirt and then it lifts up and then a missile comes out. And these are just, they seem to be peppered in really random places. They're not obvious to us where they all are because the launch platforms are mobile. Targeting them is extremely difficult, unlike something like stationary, like a silo or whatever. And so even if we did gain air superiority somehow, how do you get to the underground facilities that are producing and launching these off mobile platforms? And the lower, I would say this, Russia has already signaled that they will do what they can to help Iran essentially drag out the war as long as possible. China obviously has very strong interest in Iran continuing to function because of the oil that they're buying from them. And when you take all of this into account, you start to see that the strategy is essentially the same in Ukraine and Russia. We never let Ukraine win outright, but we just let them get enough material to bleed Russia out. So making it as costly as possible. That's the same strategy here Russia and China could employ with Iran. They're not going to give you game-winning tech and armaments, but they could arm you enough, supply you enough so that you can bleed out the invaders. Now, if that's what's going to happen, because Trump already called in all the major CEOs, the defense contractors, and just ripped their fucking ears off, like what's going on with production? This is pathetic. So on one end, he's tweeting, we have infinite bombs. We can go into a forever war. But the next thing he does is he meets directly at the White House with all the CEOs of the major defense contractors to give them an earful on what? Why our production is so low? Clearly, our initial strategy was strike them early, strike them hard, give them everything we've got, and hopefully that leads to a collapse in the government. Well, it hasn't. And now we're kind of stuck into a timeline that now got extended to up to 4 or 5 weeks. And once the 4 or 5 weeks goes out, if we don't stop them in 4 to 5 weeks, what's our plan? What is our plan? Are we in a protracted fucking another quagmire of a war? I don't know. I really don't know. I just know this, and we all know this at this point. We had a plan, didn't work out like we thought. They're a lot more resilient than we expected. They're able to counterattack way more than we were expecting also. They have damaged some incredible radar systems we had in the Middle East. And now we're kind of left, we lost the initiative a little bit here. And now we're just kind of, we're improvising and seeing what we can do. That's not a good plan. So now we've sent even more missiles, even more bombers, and we're trying to essentially just wipe them out. I heard Pete Hegseth was saying that we had total domination of the skies, and we were able to fly all our sorties day in and day out without being contested whatsoever. And we've even armed the Kurds in the north, in the northwest or whatever. We bombed and started arming the Kurds for an incursion. I have read the incursion has completely failed. A lot of them have died and they were counterattacked. The IRGC was prepared for something like this. Don't know what's true and what isn't, but clearly we're trying to partition Iran because they're so diverse.
Not to mention all of the different bases, the GCC countries that you just talked about, and the asymmetry of the cost. It's $1 million for a missile, tens of millions per interceptor in some of these cases. With these munitions running out, how does that change the global picture? So you're in China, obviously, much of the stocks in Asia of the United States are likely to have to be cannibalized if this were to go on. How's that going to affect the global picture here?
Right. So my first point is that the United States military is not designed to fight a 21st century war. Remember, the military-industrial complex came to being after World War II, and it was designed to fight the Cold War. And the Cold War was really about muscle flexing, about who was able to send people up into space, who was the first to get the person on the moon, who had the more complex missile systems. And so the entire American military strategy revolves around very sophisticated technology that costs a lot of money to build. And that's what the American air defense system is basically. And that's why we're seeing this asymmetry, as you point out, in this war, where you have these $1 million missiles trying to take out these $50,000 drones. And it's not sustainable in the long term. And so what we're seeing is really the puncturing of the aura of invincibility and invisibility that sustained American hegemony for the past 20 years, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And this is really a reordering of not just the global economy, because this signals the collapse of the petrodollar, and with it, the entire US dollar-based reserve currency system, but also the global hegemony of the United States. We're moving towards a multipolar world.
Professor, this morning, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was asked a question about potential ground troops in Iran. He refused to rule out that possibility. And he said, oh, well, we're not going to project to you what we will or will not do, but we don't want to, rule anything out. We will do what it takes. Do you think that America will end up invading Iran from the ground, since it's already becoming relatively clear they won't be able to accomplish the goal of regime change or even regime collapse using just air power alone?
Right. So everyone says that the worst calamity that could happen in the United States is if it were to send ground troops into Iran. At the same time, the United States are committed to regime change in Iran. We've never had a precedent in history where you were able to
Dude, what a departure from no new wars to we're not going to rule out boots on the ground in Iran. Like, if you would have told somebody that was voting for Trump just 6 months ago, dude, if you would have told them, like, you will hear the words, we will not rule out boots on the ground in Iran. If you heard that just 6 months ago, they would have been like, Matt, no way, dude. We are MAGA first. We are not getting any war. We just bombed them really quick. We took out Fordo. We took out everything else. We made them bend the knee. We're fine. 6 months later, we're not ruling out boots on the ground. It's insane. That's an insane comment. Look, we got retard bots here. Bro, your TDS has fucked up your head as he sucks off fucking Trump. Look at him. Patrick, what is it? Something LA Valley 3989. He's like, what are the bots I was talking about?
From the air alone. You need ground troops. And so unfortunately, what's going to happen over the next few months is that pressure will build on America to send ground troops, especially from the GCC countries and from Israel, which are being touted right now by the Iranians. So remember that the GCC countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, if they go, then the petrodollar goes with them. So the Americans need to...
So Qatar today has officially paused LNG deliveries worldwide. So it looks like the 2 to 4 week startup again. So I was reading about this, and Japan was prepared. So the way they quote Asia's numbers is that they go through Japan. Japan has prepared for this, and I think they have something like 100, 200 days, I can't remember, of reserves if they run out of LNG for energy. It was yesterday? Yes, yesterday. But when you start to look at things like Pakistan and India and some of these other countries in South Asia, Pakistan has like zero. A lot of these countries have about 1 week. So in aggregate, they estimated about 1 week. So in 1 week, there's going to be nothing but pandemonium because of the energy instability in Asia. Guys, do you know what that means? You have to think of it like this. So what Iran's strategy is, essentially, is maximum pressure on the United States through her satellite states. What does that mean? That means you bomb all these GCC states that spend a lot of money on the administration for influence and lobbying. And once you close the Strait of Hormuz, and then you pause deliveries because it's so unsafe, just like Qatar did, and some of the other GCC states are going to also do probably something similar, or at least experience some form of disruption to the global markets and energy supplies. Once that 7 days passes, 10 days, and you get maximum pressure from the GCC on Trump's head, you need to do something about this. You need to come to the table and reach an agreement. We can't keep getting attacked. You're only protecting Israel. We need our refineries protected. You're going to have to move more assets in the Middle East because we need protection. And they're going to use all that money and power and influence that they have acquired in order to bend Trump's arm for protection. Now, how much is their money worth in comparison to the influence Israel currently has? That's an incredible question. And that is a tension point, because if the GCC states feel like they've been swept under the rug and ignored for Israel, which some of them have already signaled like they feel like they're not important, that they haven't been protected enough, and that all our focus is on protecting Israel. If all of them start to feel that way, now imagine what that does to all of the goodwill we've been building with these states. So this is it's pressure through economic coercion, economic sabotage. They're not going to beat us outright militarily. That's impossible. You don't beat America militarily, but you disrupt global energy markets. You put pressure on America through her satellite states. Now that is different. That's a strategy that could win, because you got to think, in that strategy, disruption is key. And it's a war of attrition there. How long can you disrupt global markets? Well, dude, they have bases underground everywhere where they're producing all this shit. So potentially months. Now, what does that do to those economies? Like, that could push China. What's going to happen to China, because they've already paused all diesel and I think oil exports from all their domestic production. If they only have a couple of weeks left, what the fuck is that going to do to these economies that are super energy dependent? If they get destabilized, it might push China into a direction we didn't foresee. because they have no choice economically. You're going to start seeing frigates and carriers and other corvettes and shit of Chinese origin all of a sudden in the Strait of Hormuz. All of a sudden, the Strait of Hormuz is close to everybody but China and Russia. All of a sudden, China is going to be defending because it has to for national security. That's another point of contention. What happens? Are we going to get the straits opened ourselves? Are we sending our assets there to be within bombing range? So we're going to put more sailors at risk. So what happens then? Now you have Chinese vessels in the Strait of Hormuz getting its oil. Are we going to what? Put restrictions and embargo Iranian oil and try to stop China from getting its oil? Are we going to force them somehow if all their oil tankers are essentially shadowed by the Chinese Navy? What do you do there? Do you see how complicated this can get? So Iran is banking on this becoming a quagmire on an international level by completely screwing up the energy security of all these nations. That's the point of this. They're never beating America. If all they were to do was only strike Israel and only strike American assets, nothing would happen. They would lose because America would bomb them to hell. But now you're getting a global reaction. Now there's pressure on America's head to return things back to normal. Think about it.
Atothic Hickens sent $5. They are already going to Russia for oil, and they are allowing free passage to Russia and China.
Exactly. Now what happens to the rest of those states? There's a lot of countries that only have 7 days of supply, if not less. So that's going to lead to a lot of destabilization. You have to think of it in these terms. They will never beat America outright, but can you economically damage so much of global trade that of course the global hegemon is weakened in that sense? This is like their only smart play and it's working. So yes, how long could Iran survive? How long could they keep launching missiles? And what happens once they saturate enough of the interceptors that we don't have anymore? And the ground invasion from the Kurds and Balochistan and whoever else, whatever separatists are there. What happens if those fail?
At 93 Silent sent $4.99.
Thank you, brother. So we don't think about that. What happens if the ground invasion through proxy fails? And we're in an extended, protracted conflict with energy security disrupted globally for months. How many nations for months will be able to sustain that until you get massive disruption at home? Civil instability. And then that pushes people to pick a side. And then what are they going to think of the Americans that started all of this? Think of what our reputation is going to look like internationally. Right? Imagine that. We're going to look like the bad guys because it's America's fault that they bombed Iran. America's the reason we don't have energy. America's the reason we're experiencing essentially an energy recession. America's fault. That is blowback, exactly.
Protect these countries, and these countries are going to demand that either the Americans bribe the Iranians to cease, and this is like $5 trillion in indemnity, okay? Or send ground troops to wipe out the Iranian threat once and for all. And I know that there's no political will for ground troops to be used against Iran among the American people. But remember that 78% of American people was against initial strikes against Iran in the first place.
Right. And one of the things that really comes into question, I think, with all of this, sir, when we're looking at the geopolitical picture and the sacrificing in much of this from the United States on behalf of Israel, is kind of a question as to who and what wanted this. We were actually curious for your view on a disputed report here from the Washington Post. We can put it up here on the screen, F3. A push from the Saudis. Israel helped move Trump to attack Iran. Now, this has been internally disputed by Saudi Arabia, saying that they did not push the Trump administration to attack Iran. However, this is clearly an authorized leak from our own government trying.
And by the way, oil has hit $100 a barrel in China already. I don't know what the oil markets currently are for us. I have not checked the markets, but people are making millions of dollars off this.
To at least lay some of the blame on behalf of the GCC. What do you make of this analysis and of this narrative that Saudi Arabia was also trying to be behind this push to bomb Iran?
So I've always argued that both Saudi Arabia and Israel are heavily invested in regime change in Iran. Yeah. In fact, Saudi Arabia sees Iran as much more of an existential crisis than Israel. Because remember, Israel still has nuclear weapons, and Israel is a very diverse, very sophisticated economy, whereas Saudi Arabia is...
Yeah, WTI. So crude oil was, it peaked at $82 a barrel already, and it stabilized around 78. You should start noticing this at the pump very shortly. If you haven't already, at least here in Arizona, I know there's some regional stuff going on with California and whatever else. Oil or gas prices for us at the pump has jumped $1. I'm now paying premium is over $4 in Arizona. I don't know what you guys are paying currently, but that was around $3 and like 20 cents. And now it's about $4.20, something like that at Quick Trip. Yeah. $5.19 for premium in California. There you go. So El Paso prices jumped up 50 cents. Yeah, it seems like gas jumped up 50, 60 cents like overnight, just like that.
Completely reliant on oil. And it's always had problems with...
And by the way, yeah, so talking about inflation, right? They were always talking about inflation cooling down and all this shit. Well, now it's going to tick back up. Oil inflates absolutely everything. Transport, the whole logistical chain, everything's going to get more expensive. All your products, everything. So inflation is back on the menu, boys. Here we go again.
Iran, because Iran is a theocracy opposed to the Saudi monarchy. Iran funds and equips the Houthis, which have been antagonistic towards Saudi Arabia for the longest time. And right now, the Saudi economy is suffering. It's been trying to...
I wonder what the Europeans are paying, because the Europeans were a little over double what our prices are. The per liter price in Europe right now has to be fucking maddening. I don't know what the hell you guys are paying, dude, but you guys are getting raped. It's $8 a gallon in Romania. Oh, my Lord. Dude, imagine being in Romania. You are on a Romanian salary, and you're paying $8 a gallon. Yeah, €2 a liter in Germany. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Can you imagine? Americans would freak out at $8 a gallon. Dude, Romania with its fucking shit salary for the average price, it's incredible.
Pivot towards more of a tourist economy. That's why they brought in...
At Hell yeah, America sent $50.
Thank you, brother.
The USA is fractured. It's the old feminism, foreign worker versus youth. The youth are worried about affordability, baby deletion, stagflation and feminism indoctrination.
That's so true.
But unimportant? Why should men fight for a country that has disdain for them?
I don't even think anybody wants to fight for the country anymore in the state that it's in. You know what's happening? The people that have nowhere else to go, nothing, like no opportunities in front of them, signed up to get the benefits that the military gives you. The GI Bill so you can go to school for free. I think what our and then you have a few of the patriots, mostly guys from the Midwest, like the real foundational stock of America, those strong farm boys. But they're few and far in between. A majority of the military right now is probably those people that had no other option. Those are the ones fighting for the country. And that's essentially what our military is made up of. So, but I thank you so much for the 50, brother. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we don't have the same military we had before. Of course, the Spec Ops guys are completely different. That's just another breed of human elite capital. But when you look at the composite of our military, we're scraping from the bottom of what we have.
That's why they're switching to e-gaming.
And yes, you are right. It is the old versus young. Basically a haves versus have-nots. I mean, when Trump is up there at the podium telling you, like, we're trying to make sure that the prices of homes don't get lowered. We're trying to make sure that everybody gets to keep their wealth. He's talking to the old people. He's talking to his boomer class. He's not talking to us young guys. He's not talking about people that try to buy a house.
William sent $5. Small William is bear. Sells honey barrel for 8 acorns. Bear emoji.
I appreciate that, brother. Yeah. It's the old eating the young. Yeah. Look, boomers are going to die with their wealth. It's getting sucked up by services, by the nanny services. They're going to be shitting themselves in their beds, going on vacations. They're not, that wealth is not getting passed down to us. There's industries, entire industries that are propped up to extract all the money boomers have saved up. We will not be benefiting at all. That money is getting concentrated to industry, you guys.
That's why they're building something called a line, NEOM. And all these things are not working out. So they need to be able to control the oil resources of the entire Middle East if they are to survive and thrive as a nation. So I do believe that this reporting is credible, even though it does make Saudi Arabia look bad. But remember, Saudi Arabia says that they wanted peace, but they are helping the Israelis and the Americans attack Iran right now because they're allowing the Israelis and Americans to use Saudi airspace.
So help us understand, because it still feels to me like there's some pieces that don't totally add up. You had, in advance of this war on Iran, you had top military brass up to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying, this is a really bad idea. We are not ready for this. All the math on the interceptors that's been talked about for months at this point. And yet Trump still decided to go ahead. What is the calculus that he was making here that led him to take what, already appears to be catastrophic actions?
Right, okay. So this is the key question. Why do they do this? I think there are three possibilities, okay? And I think all three possibilities are valid. The first is the idea of hubris. If you look at history, this is how empires behave. So the Mindoro kidnapping was quick, successful, and it was adrenaline rush for Trump. And that made him overconfident in the capacity of the American military.
At 93 Silent sent $4.99. What would you do if you were president? How would you stop this shit?
Oh, dude, it's honestly the easiest thing ever. You just put America first. Stop giving money to countries that do not toe the line. Rein in Israel's influence. Fix the lobbying and money in government, right? Give Americans affordable health care instead of sending all of this shit overseas with U.S. aid, all this stuff. Make voter ID actually matter and be law for all states. Put people in jail when they commit crimes and keep them there. No more cashless bail. Stop bailing out criminals. Enough with the woke DEI policies and all this shit. It's all common sense stuff. Jail activist judges. Make sure that any judge that releases a criminal is liable if they reoffend. If you let a guy out on bail and he kills somebody else, you're going to prison too. And then finally, sound money. Exactly. So peg our currency to our assets. Peg our currency to oil, to gold, to silver, and whatever else.
The underscore
so that
off
the government can't just keep
$5
printing.
Is this live?
It is live, bro. Thank you. It is very live. Yeah, turn the printer off so our money's actually fucking worth something. The biggest mistake that we've ever had in this entire country is going off the standard.
At Fresh Media 15 cent $4.99. I am confused, Bo. Is this video live or not?
Jesus Christ. Yes, this is live.
Hubris is a factor, and we see this throughout history. Why did Hitler invade Stalin? Because he conquered Europe really easily and he thought it was invincible, right? And that led to the destruction of the German army in the Soviet Union. So hubris is a factor. Then you have to look at internal political calculus, where even though America does not benefit from this war against Iran, Trump himself personally benefits. Why? Because the Saudis and the Israelis are bribing him to attack Iran. Remember that the Saudis invested $2 billion in the private equity fund of Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald Trump. And the Israelis, through Miriam Adelson, have been financing Trump's political career, right? So Miriam Adelson, a few months back, said that she will put up $250 million if Trump were to run.
How live is this?
Oh, my Lord. It's very live, bro. Super live, okay?
A third.
We are live. I'm not a bot. This isn't AI. We're not fake news. It's not slop. We are live.
Term. So Trump is getting a lot of financial and political support from the Saudis and Israelis. Also remember that if this war goes sideways and Trump is forced to use ground troops, he will probably get approval from Congress, and this will give him emergency war powers, which will allow him to influence the midterms. So Trump...
Bro.
Tabbed GG6JZ sent $2. Are you sure we are live?
I'm going to crash the fuck out right now.
Okay. Is thinking about a third term. And I think at the ballot box, he probably won't get it. But if there's a war going on and you can delay elections,
don't
and
crash
you have
out.
Emergency war powers, and people will rally around the flag,
don't crash out.
Then he probably will get a third term. And the last factor that is very important is the eschatological factor, where if you look at the Epstein files, it's clear that we are run by secret societies. It's clear that the world is run by these individuals who have a lot of power. We don't know who they are, but they control the military. They control the national security apparatus.
Thank you,
and
Flame,
these
for
people, there are different names for these people. You can call them the Illuminati. And the Illuminati are composed of three major groups, okay? You have the Jesuits, who control the Vatican. You have the Septine Frankists.
He goes really fucking... He goes crazy here. I don't know what the fuck to believe, okay? I don't know about... This shit is off the super deep end. I avoid going that far into this stuff. The Jesuits and the Frankists and Committee of the 300 and geez Louise, bro. They're rabbit holes upon rabbit holes.
Which control the modern state of Israel today. And you have the Freemasons, which control the national security apparatus of the United States. And they believe that Israel, this war in the Middle East, is key to the end times in creating heaven on earth. So it's almost like a script that they're following, even though it doesn't make any geopolitical sense. Okay, so I would say that these three are the best reasons why this is happening.
Wow. Well, sir, I hope you come back. This was very informative, I think, for both of us. We deeply appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Club of Rome. I don't know what to believe. I need to do way more research myself into all these like deep conspiracy theories. I know Tucker's going in on Israel right now. His last two videos that he put up has gotten him in a lot of trouble lately. And I probably will watch some of those on Kick. If you guys want to continue the Iran-Israel stuff. Otherwise, we'll go into some other shit. Like this guy says most married men are just background noise. If you want to continue the Iran stuff, one's in the chat. Two, if you want to switch it up, let me know.
GG6JZ sent $2. Are we live yet? Doesn't seem like it.
Yes, we are live, bro. Getting a lot of ones, twos. All right, it's a mix. Ones and twos. It's about 50-50. Sounds like you, fucker.
GG6JZ sent $2. Sounds like something a bot would say.
We are live. Very much live. Okay? I'll put it up in a poll again. Someone said more twos than ones. Start a poll. Iran, yes or no? There you go. We'll get that in a couple of minutes. We'll just talk with the chat. Yay or nay?
GG6JZ sent $2. Why are you lying?
Because this is a fake news channel, bro. I am a bot, okay? This is all fake news. This is AI slop here. I'm hitting you with the goy beams. Okay? Don't you see? Don't you see the mug? What does the mug say? I am the #1 soldier.
At me Verda sent $5. You mean to tell me Yez's wasn't lying, genius and madman separated by a fine line, black exclamation mark emoji, all I know is she ain't messing with no broke knee hash at her, double exclamation mark emoji.
Okay. Soldiers of Goya. All right, what are we at here? Ah, we have a majority of people that want to continue it. Okay. You see? Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do one more. And then I'll start preparing on the back end. Reclaim your foreskin. This guy's wild. On the back end, I'll do those in-depth preparations for you guys for the, you know, kind of varied news sources. And we'll see. So he had an update. He just posted it on March 3rd. It's got 1 million views. It's 45 minutes long. We'll do this and then we'll go over on Kick. So this is his update from when he
sent $5.
did his first video.
You should make a poll on how live this is. Also, who TF is this fake ass rage baiter?
A fake ass rage baiter? Who's that?
At Des Growspot sent $5. Here's my $5, you bot.
You fucking bot. You're a bot, bro. Thank you for the 5. Fucking call me a bot. There we go. Is this Liv? No, your mom's a bot, bro. Do I consider myself a Zionist? Fucking A. I don't even know what they call that. Yeah, I know what it is. The way they circumcise babies with their mouths. Yeah. It starts with an M. And it ends with like a bepeh. Mestiza bepeh or something like that. I don't fucking know, dude. Don't Google it.
I hope everyone had a nice break. And welcome back to the end of the world. So as you know, World War III has started. The United States and Israel have started to attack Iran. And we are now in the 4th day of this war. And we can expect this war to last for many weeks, possibly also for many years. But I promise you that after this war is done, the world will never be the same.
Later on, Silent. Have a good one at the gym, brother. Take care of yourself.
Again. So what we will do these next few weeks is use game theory and understand and analyze the geopolitical situation. And so I'm going to teach you the ideas, the theories, the techniques to understand the world around you and make predictions. And we can know if our analysis is correct because all this is happening in real time, and so we can test it against reality. All right, so let's go over some basic facts about what's happened so far. So in the early morning of Saturday in Tehran, the Israelis and Americans launched a decapitation strike again.
Thank you for the 500 kicks, brother. Is this live? Are you live? I am live, bro. Thank you. Unfortunately, let me turn the music off. I rearranged Guts as a side gig. Thanks, Kalergi, for the 500. That should be popping up on screen, but I think Streamlabs is broken, so I don't know what's going on with
the Ayatollah Khamenei, who is the supreme leader of Iran. Now, there are arguments and disputes about as to what happened. the Americans and Israelis said that they had real intelligence about where the leader was, and so they sent airplanes to just bomb the crap out of a place. They also had a spy who was able to record the body of the dead Ayatollah, and then this was announced. At first, the Iranians denied this, and the Iranians insisted he was still alive, but eventually state media admitted that he did die in the airstrike. But then what they also said is that the Ayatollah, he's 86 years old, and he chose to die. He could have gone to Moscow, but instead he chose to stay in Tehran and die for his people. But not only that, but he died along many of his relatives. He died along with his daughter, his son-in-law, his grandchildren. So many of the family died in this assault. Also, there's been reporting that he had prostate cancer. Okay, so he was going to die fairly soon as well. So what you need to understand first about the war.
At Jacoby Willie at 2,635 cent $9.99. Watched this yesterday. I have no words. How does a working class male even navigate a global environment like this? Genuinely. The only outcome I see is comply or die. Am I crazy?
Thank you for the 10, dude. That's a good question. Try not to think about it in such large terms, like the way it affects you. Like, you know, geopolitics, obviously, like you're going to pay more at the pump, for example. That's how it affects you. Groceries are going to get a little more expensive. That's how it affects you. The way to navigate this is just understand this simple fact. It's always been unstable and constantly shifting beneath your feet. Just make sure everything you do every single day, all the decisions you make, the habits that you have, those actually make the biggest impact on your life. Not this shit that's going around internationally. Yes, it affects you here and there. The biggest thing that affects you is what you do when you get out of bed, the decisions you make every single day. And that transforms you into the man that you are now. That's what you need to be worried about. What'd you do today?
At Des Grosspot sent $2. You're right, Immabot and your AI slop lol.
Thank you. Yeah, dude, so don't get caught up in this like, holy fuck, Iran war, this, unless you're about to get drafted or whatever. Like, fine. Okay, that's when the shit is close to home. But guys, for everybody else that are watching, seriously, what you do day in and day out. And I'm not trying to go on some fucking tangent about eat clean and work out, bro. But literally, those have a bigger impact on your well-being and the decisions you make financially. Like, do you spend money on fucking slop or do you invest, right? So it's like, hey, here's what's happening in geopolitics. We know oil is going to spike. Let's invest in oil commodities. For example, hey, other companies are going to get raped by AI. Let's short some companies that are vulnerable to the AI advance. Shit like this. This is what you could do. This is how you benefit from geopolitics. Financially, on your micro scale, the microcosm that is your life, you can make some moves here where you benefit. But at the end of the day, that shit's all irrelevant, bro. If you're a fucking gooning toad, if you're at home jacking off all day, if you could barely get out of bed, if you're making piddly squat at a dead-end job, no one gives a fuck. Like, it doesn't matter whether Iran's getting bombed or not. Your life is fucked regardless. So in the short term and in the most like meaningful way possible, the shit you do in your life is far more measurable, far more important than any of this shit. That's how you should look at it.
Is that even though the Americans and Israelis claim great success in decapitating the leadership of the Iranians, from the Iranian perspective, this is a martyrdom, okay? And so the religion of the Iranians is called Shia Muslim. And this is different from Sunni Muslim. So Sunnis are the majority, they're about 9% of all Muslims in the world. The Shia have always been the minority. And as such, they've always been persecuted. So in the Shia faith, the core value, the force that binds everyone together and gives them purpose and meaning in life, that galvanizes them into action, is the idea of martyrdom, which forces jihad. To sacrifice yourself for your religion, sacrifice yourself for the common good. So think of the death of Khamenei as a sacrifice, a self-sacrifice, in order to motivate the Iranians in this war, okay? So that's the first thing you need to understand. that for the Iranians, this is not a geopolitical war. This is not an economic war. This is not a war of resistance. This is a jihad. Okay? It's a war against the great Satan to avenge their leader. They will fight to the death. All right? That's number one. Number two is this. Also that morning, when the Ayatollah was killed, the Israelis struck a school in the south of Tehran, killing about 150 school children. These are girls in primary school. And again, there's a lot of debate and argument as to what happened. The Israelis said that, first of all, the school was next to a military base. We were targeting a military base. And second of all, it wasn't us which struck the school. It was a air defense missile that went off course. Okay? And the Iranians insisted no. The Israelis purposefully attacked the school to kill the school children. And then you're like, why would the Israelis do that? But then these few years, well, we've seen what they've done in Gaza, in Palestine to the Palestinians. And it's pretty consistent what the Israelis have been doing. All right? So this action against the Israelis, it's meant to show to themselves and the world that we are now all in. Okay? We've made the sacrifice. We are now committed to this war, to winning this war at all costs. And this action has also provoked the Iranian people to resist with their full might. Okay? So I want you to keep this in mind. And again, we don't have complete evidence that it's the Israelis who did this. But given past actions from the Israelis, this is fairly consistent with what they've done. Okay? So we can assume that this is something the Israelis did. Why they did this, what the purpose is something we will discuss as we move on. Okay? It's very complicated. Next, I want to show you this. This is Dubai. And Dubai is considered one of the wealthiest, safest cities in the world. There are thousands, tens of thousands of Westerners who move to Dubai because it's clean, you don't pay any taxes, you make a lot of money. I haven't
seen this either.
And there are great restaurants. And this is really the economic model of Dubai. It's one of the the GCC countries. Okay.
Yeah, Dubai is so interesting because they blocked everybody from filming and showing what's going on. And then you have Andrew Tate over there like shilling for the government and shit. He's like paid. I think he's literally paid by Dubai to walk around and be like, yeah, bro, it's fucking sick out here in Dubai. Like, who gives a shit? And he's having dinner and there's like fucking missiles flying over his head, like exploding in the background. You just got to pretend like that shit's fine. And it's like, I would get stabbed in the streets of London. It's way better here with these fucking missiles. It's like, what? Yeah, they were all releasing propaganda shorts. Like all the influencers in Dubai got contacted by the government and were like, you're going to need to put out some positive shit. Who wants to go to that fucking shithole? I've been there. It's a shithole. I've been there. Trust me. I was thinking of living there. I visited and then I was like, nope, you turned right the fuck back. That place is ass. Anybody that tells you otherwise is a fucking degen and full of shit. It is literally a slave country where they bring in Southeast Asians or South Asians, Indians and shit for pure slavery. They bust them in on buses with like the windows blocked out onto the job site so they could work. Have you ever seen the other side of Dubai? So not the nice shit with the palm and all that. Go on the side, on the outskirts of Dubai, and it looks like a third world shithole. Fucking stinks, bro. Never going back. Anybody that lives there is bullshitting you. Nobody lives there, to be completely honest. They just use their crypto money to buy real estate in Dubai because they don't ask any questions. And then they'll sell their fucking real estate and wash their money. That's what it is. They wash their crypto money there. It's a giant fucking like a tax haven / scam / crypto washing operation. So disappointed to see people like that just literally whoring it up on social media to pretend like Dubai is some cool fucking, it's like some cool place. No, dude, sorry. You're only fooling people that have never been there. It's a mirage. It's so surface level. It's fucking, there's nothing there but to just spend money. That's it. It has no soul. There's no reason to even live there. The food tastes like dog shit. I can have when I was in Bucharest in Romania, I can go to a babushka's restaurant. It's some family and I'll eat better for $5 than a $200 meal in Dubai. Dubai's food tastes like shit. It's all imported. They can't grow nothing. It has no taste. It's like America. It's like America's food, but even worse. Garbage, bro. It's all garbage. Anybody selling you, because I got stuck on the hype train too, dude, years ago. Holy fuck, Dubai is so clean. It really is clean. It really is safe. That's true. But you don't see the cracks until you're there for months at a time. And then you're like, holy shit. This place is not what it seems, and the weather is ass, and the pollution is fucking crazy. The sky is like purple and orange and green and all these fucking colors. The fog is insane from pollution alone, bro. You can't even see some of the skyscrapers down the street on the worst days. The humidity, holy fuck. The humidity is absolutely ass. There's so much humidity there. Yeah, sand and pollution. No thanks, dude. No thanks. It's like, I don't know what you would describe it, capitalism on steroids, but also empty as fuck, like garbage. And then, do you even know why Dubai chocolate was created and how recent it is? I don't know if this is true or not. But the reason Dubai chocolate exists is because they tried to erase the Dubai porta potty. Dubai chocolate is where prostitutes were getting shit on. So I've heard from multiple people through the grapevine that Dubai chocolate got invented so that when you search Dubai chocolate, whores getting pooped on isn't the first thing that comes about in the Google search terms. Come on, bruh. Yep.
Okay, the Gulf coastal countries. And for the longest time, Dubai had a really good deal because they were under the protection of the American military. So they didn't have to pay for defense. And then they were in the Middle East, which is the oil producing center of the world. And so they focus on aviation, they focus on logistics, they focus on finance, on tourism. They became extremely wealthy, right? I'm not sure if you've taken Emirates, one of the best airlines in the world. So their airport, Dubai Airport, is the busiest in the world. And Dubai, for the longest time, was flourishing under American protection. And Dubai said to the world, listen, we're like Switzerland. We're neutral. We don't want any involvement in any wars. We're here just to take care of our citizens, to make sure everyone has a good time, to make money. And then right after the war started, the Iranians attacked the GCC, okay? Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, they attacked these places. And these places were like, what's going on? We're neutral, man. We're not involved in this war. And the airport was shut down in Dubai. At one point, the rich people in Dubai were willing to pay about $250,000 US just to get on a plane and get out of there, okay? So the reality is this. For the longest time, Dubai had a reputation for being safe, and that's why people moved their money there. Guess what, guys? After what the Iranians did, it's dead. Dubai as a city, in the long term, it is dead. Because you're a wealthy Westerner, you're not going to move to a place where it could be attacked anytime by the Iranians. You might move to Singapore, you might move to Hong Kong, Japan, South America, but you're not moving to Dubai, okay? So the big question for us is, why did the Iranians do this? It was the Israelis and Americans who attacked you, why go after the GCC? All right? And not only that, but they're escalating the attacks against the GCC. So this is something that we will look at very closely today. Well, the short answer is because these places, even though they pretend to be neutral, they house the American military. They allow the Israelis and the Americans to use their airspace to attack Iran from. All right? So this is Bahrain. Now, Bahrain is interesting, okay? Because
yeah, it's interesting about traveling the world and stuff like that with Passport Bros, with Dubai, with all this shit is that you gain so much new information about all these places by either living there or just being in the thick of it for months. And it changes your perspective, dude. It changes what you originally thought. So many people, unfortunately, in the world that we live in today, think that if you change your opinion on something that you sold out or that you were wrong, they can't fathom that, after you get new information, new experiences, that your opinion can actually change. That's a bad thing somehow, bro. Like, these people want you to be dug into your position even when you're proven wrong. It's like, no, how about you update? It's rational to update your thoughts on a situation after you've been there, after you've seen some things. Like, what is going on? Yeah, the bots, dude, the NPCs come out of the woodwork and shit.
I want you guys to remember this, but Bahrain will probably be one of the major centers of this conflict. Because, first of all, this is the American Fifth Fleet. Right? This is their naval base in the Middle East. And as you can see, the Iranians are attacking it with missiles. And it's being blown up. Bahrain is interesting because it has about 50% or even more, okay, Shia, which is the religion of the Iranians. But the people in charge are the Sunnis. And so what makes this strike really important from our perspective is, first of all, not only are the Iranians attacking US military assets, not only are they destroying the economies of the GCC, but they're also trying to ignite a religious war, right? Because you're Shia, you're loyal to the Ayatollah. And if he's dead, then you must, as a religious obligation, now commit jihad against your enemies. And it's no different in other religions where, listen, if you want to kill the Pope, the Catholics would be really angry at you and they would want to kill you, right? So now you have these Shia who will probably eventually arise, creating a revolution in Bahrain, okay? So I think Bahrain will be the first to fall. Dubai will probably go bankrupt, okay? But in the long term, we can expect the entire GCC area, including Saudi Arabia, to eventually collapse, okay? And so this is something we'll use game theory to understand. All right, let's continue. So we will know how this war develops just based on geography, okay? So this is a map. And this map, even if you don't really know the war, even if you don't know the participants, even if you don't know the weaponry, this map will tell you exactly how this war will progress. All right, so some certain things to keep in mind about this map. This is what we call this area, okay, really small it's 33 kilometers wide, okay? People can swim across it. It's really, really narrow, okay? This small area, guys, it's called the Strait of Hormuz, all right? And it's important because it's really the...
You know, when you hear the population size and how big Iran is, like when you put it over a map with proper projections over Europe, and it's like almost the size of Europe. And then you think you're going to subjugate 91 million people in the span of a few weeks, especially bombing and by collateral damage civilians? How? How did anybody in the administration think that we were going to subjugate a nation of 91 million people that are uber religious? That makes absolutely no sense. How do we possibly benefit? Afghanistan, we didn't learn our lesson. Iraq, we didn't learn our lesson. You think a nation of 91 million people, even if they're diverse, it doesn't matter. You think you're going to partition 91 million people, a 1 million man standing army, plus militias, plus proxies all over the Middle East? Huh? I don't understand.
Center of the world. This one area is the nexus, the pivot of the world. Let me explain why. First of all, from the GCC, you have 20% of all the...
Someone said Iran is running out of water. So let's say they do run out of water, right? And then is that at the point where they capitulate? Or does that intensify the anger? And does that harden them and turn them into like freedom fighters or terrorists or rebels, whatever name you want to give them? Okay, if that happens, does that push them into a sort of a ground war and invade? Okay, so then how does a government take over, right? Because you need boots on the ground, don't you, to institute a change in power? Like you need to have elections, correct? The people need to accept a new leader. Why would the people that are starving and have no water because the United States bombed them, why would they all of a sudden bend the knee and then vote in a new government? Oh, to make the pain stop. Okay, but how do you keep that government in power? Don't you need boots on the ground? What happens to the million-man standing army? Dude, there's so many questions here. It's like you can pull on every thread. It's just a little bit of logic and it starts to fall apart. We need better planning. We thought we could bomb them into submission? Clearly not. We think we can partition them with breakaway states? I don't know if that's going to work. That remains to be seen. That's probably the development over the next 4 to 5 weeks. What happens if that fails? Then what? Then what do we do? If the partitioning fails with proxy wars, then what? What happens if China and Russia step in with material aid? Have we thought of these scenarios? I don't know. The fact is, it's uncomfortable that we don't have answers to these already. If, do we have long-term planning for this situation that's spiraling out of control? I don't think we did. I think we got forced into action by Israel striking them before we were ready. And now we are dealing with the consequences, the fallout in real time, trying to manage a problem as it's developing. And I think you saying that out loud somehow makes you like TDS or anti-American or whatever it is that they're calling everybody out there for just, you know, kind of questioning our involvement and, you know, how prepared were we to go in? How dedicated are we? How, you know, committed are we to seeing this through fully? Because all of a sudden, boots on the ground is not an impossible thing. So say Pete Hegseth and Trump. Yeah, it's madness.
The world's oil flowing through this narrow strait. Where does it go, guys? It goes to Asia, India, Pakistan, South Korea, China, Japan. India depends on 60% of its oil from this area. China depends on 40%. Japan, 75%. Prime Minister Takeichi of Japan has said that, listen, if the Strait of Hormuz closes, we're going to have oil in about 8-9 months. The entire Japanese economy would collapse in 8-9 months if the Strait of Hormuz were to close. And guess what? The Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? So we can expect that the entire global economy will suffer greatly over the next few months. All right, so that's point number one. Point number two is, okay, so the GCC sends oil across the Strait of Hormuz, and what do they get back in return? Food, guys. All right, so people don't appreciate the GCC, but it is really the linchpin of the American empire. Because what is the American empire? The American empire is the petrodollar. All right? The idea of the petrodollar is this. The US dollar is worth nothing. It's only valuable if people want it. But the GCC says that if you want oil from us, you have to pay us in US dollars. Okay? Then that is the basis of the value of the US dollar. So, if the GCC collapses, the American economy and the American empire both collapse at the same time. The problem, though, is the GCC is an artificial construct of empire. It does not exist naturally. Why? Because there's no food, there's no oil, no water. Okay, guys? No food, no water. So these cities are able to grow in the millions because of all these petrodollars flowing in. If you close off the Strait of Hormuz, there's no food coming in, right? They're all going to starve. How much food does the GCC get from overseas? 80%. 80% of all the food it consumes comes from overseas, that it imports. It doesn't grow by itself, it imports. All right? So the Strait of Hormuz is really key. And again, the Iranians will close it in order to strangle the...
So somebody said, and look, this is like the armchair fucking admirals here. The strait won't be closed much longer, at least for America's allies. LOL CCP guy. You understand that it's much easier to strike vessels crossing the strait with these shitty Shahed drones than it is to actually strike Israel? Like, there is no Iron Dome there. There's no interceptors placed there. America would have to bring its Navy within striking range of all these cheap fucking drones that can now be easily launched from mainland Iran just a little ways away, a whisk and a hop, skip and away to hit all the vessels crossing. You don't need a Navy. You just need missiles, guys. That's all you need is missiles. Think about that. That's the part that I don't think people are thinking about. It's very easy to contest a strait when you're literally next door to it with missiles and drones that you're producing 400 to 500 a month in underground facilities. That's how you contest it. People think you need a Navy. That, like, those days are over, guys. You don't need a blue water Navy. You're not going to park destroyers over there and just, have all the ships come through and guard everything. No, you just bomb any ship that goes through and is not carrying a Chinese or Russian flag. That's it. And so nobody's ships will go through because they're afraid of getting bombed and sunk. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Global economy and therefore bankrupt the American empire. All right. Second thing you will notice is these mountains. These mountains is what we call Iran. All right. This is Iran. This is GCC. Okay. This is not a fair matchup, right? Because these are mountains. And what can you do in mountains? We can hide rocket bases. You can hide drone bases. You can hide missiles. And that's the entire Iranian offensive strategy. All right. From here, they can hide missiles and drones from which to attack the GCC. And what are they attacking? They're attacking.
You see, these people just don't get it. You're not going to win a war relying only on drones. Oh my God, dude. The point is disrupting trade, and that hurts America and its allies more. You disrupt trade for long enough, you're going to hurt America. It'll become a cost calculation. How much more of this pain economically are we willing to endure? Because that ratchets up the commitment. You now have to go in boots on the ground to fully stop this. Okay, are you ready? Are you committed enough? Do you have enough support back home that you are willing to go boots on the ground to totally end a contestation of the strait with drones? Oh, you're not? Then the drones continue going. Oh, we've run out of what? Interceptor missiles? Cannot replenish them enough. 400 of these shitty fucking drones made out of fiberglass is being produced monthly. And they will keep bombing the ships. And now the ships will not be insured. No insurance company, I read, no insurance company wants to insure any ships going over the strait. So then no corporation will want to send any ship through there for the risk alone. I don't think you understand the escalation ladder. This is a game. This is a strategy that Iran is employing. People have no idea, dude. Like, the armchair fucking generals blow my mind. Like, it's like these people that just parrot the shit they saw on Fox News and CNN, and they think like, it's over. Oh yeah, we own the skies. Yep, we're sending our ships to the strait. What?
At Des Grosspot sent $2. All of this because our government loves Israel.
Essentially.
Three things, right? They're talking American military bases. American military bases. That's number one. Okay? Is it possible for the Americans to defend against these attacks? The answer is no. It's not. It's the silliest thing in the world. You have all these bases in the Middle East, but you cannot defend them against the Iranians. That's kind of strange. Okay, but that's number one. Number two is oil and energy. How hard is it to blow up an oil field with a drone? Not hard at all. Can you defend these oil fields? No, you cannot. All right? Number three, and this is most important, is water. Okay? You guys don't know this, but the GCC has little access to fresh water. So the only way that it can produce water is what we call desalination plants, okay? These factories that take salt water and then through an electrochemical process turn it into fresh water for the population to use. 60% of the water supply in the GCC comes from desalination plants, okay? 60%. Is it hard to blow up a desalination plant using a drone? The answer is, it's very easy. You understand?
This is a test message.
Absurd situation where Iran is a mountain fortress where it can hide its offensive capacity, and the GCC, it's just this desert, this flat desert, and it is exposed to attack, and there's nothing it can do about it, okay? So at any point in this war, the Iranians can choose to just destroy the entire GCC, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it, okay? But Iran also has a weakness, okay? And this is fundamental. So Iran also has a water problem, okay? So for the longest time, they suffered a drought issue, okay? Just climate change. And so what the plan of the Israelis and Americans is destroy the water supply of the Iranians.
Test that out.
Because the fortress, it is a mountain fortress, but it can also be a mountain prison as well, where people are trapped inside with no access to water. Okay, so what we're going to see right now, we're already seeing attacks on civilian infrastructure, hospitals. In the future, you'll see attacks on water supply, on dams, on reservoirs, on power plants. The point, the idea is to make Iran so inhabitable that the people will have to rebel against the people, or there'll be a refugee crisis in Iran. Okay? So as you can see from this map, this war, it is the end of the world. Okay? Both sides have the potential to destroy each other. It's really a question of how far do they want to go. All right? We can also say this is almost a game of chicken. Okay? We can blow each other up. How far do you want to go? And the problem is this. The problem is that the Iranians are Shia, which believes in martyrdom. And you've killed the religious leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei. So they're willing to go very, very far. The GCC countries are Muslim, but they're materialistic. They love money. And also, most of the population are expatriates, foreigners. 90% of Dubai are foreigners. Guess what's going to happen if they suffer? They're going to run away. Okay? So this is not a fair matchup. The big question that people have is, first of all, are the Americans going to use ground troops? Because the only way that you can defeat Iran is by using ground troops, okay? That's a big question we'll look at in the next few weeks. Will America send its army, 500,000, 2 million soldiers to topple the government? Okay, that's question number one. Question number two, nuclear weapons. If you're losing a war, would you choose to use nuclear weapons? Okay, that's another big question that we have, okay? Another big question that we have is who gets involved? Because this situation is so dire that Europe, okay, specifically Germany, France, and Britain are talking about entering this war. And guess what? If that happens, it is possible that Russia and China will also enter this war on the side of the Iranians. This is World War III, okay? Because of the importance of the Strait of Hormuz, because of the importance of the Middle East, everyone has to get involved at some point. And we're going to use game theory to really try to understand what's happening on the ground and where this could lead us. Okay?
Fucking great, dude.
All right. You guys understand? All right. All right. Let's continue. Okay, so again, there are American bases all over the Middle East. And originally, these bases were established to protect them from basically their own people. Okay? These are monarchies that were imposed on these nations by the Anglo-American Empire, the British first, and then the Americans came to support these monarchies. And so they provide defense. But then you're like, wait a minute here. I mean, didn't we just say that these American bases can't actually defend these people, that they're exposed? And the answer is, yes, that's true. But remember that the American military was built during the Cold War. Okay? And the Cold War was a war between the Soviet Union and America. And so the Cold War was defined as something called MAD, mutually assured destruction, because both had nuclear weapons, okay? So they didn't really go to war against each other. And so in other words, these bases aren't really meant to defend these nations from other enemies. They're really meant to impose American authority in the Middle East, okay? And it's the idea of this. It's the idea that empire, it is really a image. It is a hallucination. It's just an idea. Empire is it's an aura of invincibility and invisibility, okay? If you fear it, then you obey it. But it's not really designed to fight a war, okay? And so that's why we have this absurd situation. And because there are so many bases in the GCC, that gives the Iranians the perfect pretext to attack them in order to destroy the GCC economy, which will destroy the American empire, right? All right, so this is how the war is shipping out, okay? So the red is the Israelis and the Americans, the yellow are the Iranians. And as you can see, the Iranians are attacking everywhere, primarily Israel, okay? But also, as you can see, a lot of focus on Bahrain and Qatar. And again, the intention is to destabilize the economy and the government.
Part of what's working for us in our favor is just how incompetent Iran has been, especially with getting most of their leaders in one building, not preparing for getting bombed again, and some of their launch platforms were destroyed, getting caught pants down, struggling to reorganize properly. Like, it's been a shit show over there. And if they were actually much better at organizing themselves and preparing, we would have been hurting a lot more. But incompetence in the Middle East seems to be like a normal thing. All Middle Eastern countries are incompetent as fuck. You notice this by moving over there. The level of incompetence is mind-blowing. And it doesn't surprise me that they have completely fucked up on a bunch of things, which has gave us some sort of opening and a glimmer of hope. But yeah, a lot of the Muslim countries are incompetent as fuck. Once you dig past the surface level, you'll see that the way they're ran is, yeah, it's horrible, dude. The Pentagon is saying the conflict is going to September at least. Are you serious? Is that true? Was he really live just a few minutes ago? No way. Hold on, we gotta find that. Did he cover this? This guy
ammunition
probably covered
earlier
this.
tonight at Israel, which I know there have been reports of that earlier in the conflict. I can't confirm that.
I bet you Fox covered it. Was that it right there? Down here, 40 minutes ago?
Better part of 2 hours, going through the entirety of this Operation Epic Fury. And Admiral, I want to thank you for everything you do and your incredible leadership, for your dynamic thinking, the way you're attacking this problem set on every level. In just days of Operation Epic Fury, you and your team have delivered nothing short of devastating, precise strikes, taking out the better part of Iran's Navy, making it combat ineffective, neutralizing missile sites and launchers, and establishing total dominance over the skies we fly over and seas we fly over. Our forces are executing with unmatched skill, and the mission is advancing decisively. This is the kind of no-nonsense, results-driven warfighting that America demands. And you're delivering it in spades. You are the man for this moment.
What?
Admiral Cooper, on behalf of the President, the Department of War, and every American watching, I want to thank you for the outstanding job you and CENTCOM are doing. Keep pressing the fight, and we are with you all the way. A few thoughts before I hand it over to the Admiral for an update. Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here. Bruh. We remember.
Come on, dog. There's no shortage of American will. Let me translate that. We will go as far as Israel needs us to go. There is no line we will not cross for Israel. I don't think Americans approve of what he just said. I don't think every American at home gives a fuck about this war. I think we got bigger problems at home we need to solve. Holy crap.
Remember and honor our fallen. Those 6 that we will soon welcome at Dover, who gave everything for their country in this mission. We remember them.
Come on, man.
But we remember them by rededicating ourselves even more fervently to this mission. Bruh. Our commitment to our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Bruh. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight, and fight decisively. Having a chance to hear from Admiral Cooper. If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that we'll be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces. And we have no shortage of authorities. The Admiral knows we have clear objectives with maximum authorities on the battlefield. The dumb, politically correct wars of the past were the opposite of what we're doing here. They had vague objectives with restrictive, minimalist rules of engagement. No more. Our authorities, his authorities, CENTCOM's authorities through the President and myself are maxed out. Our capabilities are overwhelming and gathering still, as are those of our Israeli partners. Our munitions are full up, and our will is ironclad, which means our timeline is ours and ours alone to control.
Oh my God, bro. Really? We're setting expectations here. The timeline is open-ended, America. Whatever we feel like doing, whether it ends tomorrow or 4 years from now. Fucking hell.
As long as it takes to ensure the United States of America achieves these objectives. And as
oh my God, as long as it
Real
takes.
Babafit 8,216 cent $4.99.
Thank you, brother.
Do you expect there to be a potential draft if the war drags out? If so,
I'm
would it be
fucked going
bad
to
to
jail.
dodge? I'm 20 and in a raid, so I'd be screwed first.
I'm going to prison, bro. I'm not fighting for Israel. I'm not fucking dying for Bibi. I'm going to claim I'm LGBTQ or some shit. I got mental problems. You're out of your fucking mind, bro. Imagine going to the Middle East to die over some whack ass shit. Some third temple building, some fuck. Nah. Aha! That's funny. Funny, dog. You think that's going to happen? Nah. You're 20 years old. You better fall down the stairs and break your fucking leg. Don't go out there fighting and dying for these fucking cocksuckers, dude. Absolutely not.
As we flow more forces and as we flow more capabilities and as our munitions, as we're flying over the top, have even more devastating effects, we set the tempo, we set the timeline, led by the commander on the ground. Our ear is to the ground to listen to.
Send the fucking women, the LGBTQ, and the diverse military to go fight. I'm cool on that, dog. No thanks. Send the feminists. Send the boss babes. Send the DEIs. Send them in there.
Admiral
I'm good on
what
that.
he needs, and what he needs, he will get. We are built for this fight, and we are in it.
You're getting the forever war speech right here. Don't you love it? It's like Iraq 2.0, dude. Here we go again. We have the munitions. We have the advantage. We have the will. We can fight on our own timeline. What does that sound like? A fucking forever war, doesn't it?
To win it. And we have the right commander in the lead. So I'll now hand it over to Admiral Brad Cooper to give you an update right here from CENTCOM. Admiral.
Mr. Secretary, first, thank you very much and good afternoon and welcome to U.S. Central Command Headquarters, America's Warfighting Headquarters. It's great to be here alongside the Secretary and representing the more than 50,000.
I thought it wasn't a war. It's just an operation. We're talking about warfighting abilities now, right? It's funny how that word war, it wasn't a war 3 days ago. This is not a war. No boots on the ground. Unbelievable, dude. Imagine getting clipped by a $50 drone. Yeah.
Men and women in uniform
bro.
Currently executing Operation Epic
Thanks,
Fury.
brother.
So, Mr. Secretary, first, thank you very much for your leadership and support and the very clear vision and objectives that you've given us to allow us to use overwhelming force against the Iranian terrorist regime. And thanks to all of you for attending today, and welcome to Tampa. We are now...
Send Emma and her two moms. Do you guys remember that woke commercial the military had? Emma and her two moms? Send Emmas. Send all the Emmas out there. Send all the wokes to go fight. All those dudes dressed up with like those dog masks. All those fucking cross-dressers. Send them to the front lines first. Okay?
Sixth day of a historic mission to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Americans. We are, if I could channel my inner Navy officer, we are at full speed ahead in executing orders given by leadership in Washington. The President and Secretary Hegseth have been crystal clear in their expectations, and we are at a high level of execution. As described by the Secretary and earlier this week by me, U.S. combat power is building as Iranian combat power declines. Our air dominance allows us to hit Iran's center of gravity with overwhelming power and reach. A couple of examples. In just the last 72 hours, America's bomber force has struck nearly 200 targets deep inside of Iran, including around Tehran. And in just the last hour, U.S.
Did you know? Again, these are these accounts that get suppressed. Did you know, guys, that we've sent some very expensive missiles to bomb painted targets in the desert, decoys?
At Patrick O'Connell 113
Did you know that?
sent $5. You have a demoralized nation of men who have nothing to lose. Most men are not going to die in a foreign land for greedy corporations and Israel.
I definitely think that's the truth. Yeah. I don't think most sane men would fight today. Absolutely not. Thanks, Patrick.
B-2 bombers dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs targeting deeply buried ballistic missile launchers. Notably, we've also struck Iran's equivalent of Space Command, which degrades their ability to threaten Americans. Then, if I just look back over the last 24 hours of the operation compared to where we were at its start, ballistic missile attacks have decreased by 90% since day one. Drone attacks have decreased by 83% since day one. Having said this, we remain vigilant. Our strikes against the Iranian Navy have intensified, You may have heard the president say just a little while ago that we have sunk or destroyed 24 ships. That was true at the moment. We're now up over 30 ships. And in just the last few hours, we hit an Iranian drone carrier ship, roughly the size of a World War II aircraft carrier. And as we speak, it's on fire. The president gave us another task, to raise or level Iran's ballistic missile industrial base. So we're not just hitting what they have, we're destroying their ability to rebuild. And so as we transition to the next phase of this operation, we will systemically dismantle Iran's missile production capability for the future, and that's absolutely in progress. This is going to take some time, but our forces are well supplied, as the Secretary said, and we are absolutely ready to prosecute this mission decisively. Our combined joint forces have...
At Hell Yeah America sent $5. With the literacy rate of younger Americans, I'd be willing to bet if a draft happens it will activate the backstop and bring the 30+ years from ETH.
Maybe, yeah, probably. Because they're going to struggle with replenishment for sure. Don't you hear the language that they have, though? Takes time, operations, planning, all this shit. This isn't ending in a week or two. We're talking regime change. This is going to be a protracted conflict. Do you understand that they're setting the tone, the expectations for you? As long as it takes. Yeah, that's true. As long as it takes. Now we're hitting their infrastructure. At first, I thought we had targeted strikes against leadership, and then we're gonna, have a regime change. That didn't work. Oh, now we're targeting infrastructure and their ability to rebuild. Well, how long is that going to take? Okay, and how are we going to target the infrastructure underground that they're building all these cheap drones with?
Relentlessly destroyed Iran's air defenses over the past few days, and they've continued hunting for more systems to kill. Our air defenders are operating at the very top of their game. I couldn't be prouder, shoulder to shoulder with our partners in the region in many cases, providing the most integrated air defense network in Middle East history. We are fighting to win. Through combined U.S. and Israeli combat power, we'll...
This is crazy.
Jacoby Willie at 2,635 sent $4.99. Are they purposefully not realizing Russia and China are siding with Iran?
I wonder what the back channel talks are with Russia and China. I'm honestly curious. I know they have an open dialogue somewhere, like there's an open line. Obviously, Russia and China want America to bleed out, Russia especially after what's going on with Ukraine and NATO, arming Ukraine. China's interests are oil. They got fucked over with Venezuela. They were buying Venezuelan oil, and now they were buying Iranian oil, and both of those options are looking like they're drying up. So if there were two nations that have absolutely like the best reasons to arm Iran and bleed America dry, it would be those two. I don't know. Is America offering them something? Is there back channeling going on? Are there discussions? Some form of diplomacy, something? I don't know. I don't know. But they are incentivized to make America bleed because America is making them bleed.
Continue decimating Iran's ability to project power.
And look, we're not really on friendly terms even to back channel anyways. Think about this. We've completely fucked up Russia by supporting Ukraine. So Russia doesn't even have... They're not in the mood to talk to us anyways. Then you have China, and we had the CHIPS Act where we kicked them out of the global chip supply. And then they basically did like a tit for tat with the rare earth metal block and the worldwide ban there. And so we're already in some kind of proxy war with Russia, with Ukraine. And we've already antagonized China with Venezuela and now Iran. So do we even have diplomatic wiggle room here? Probably not. Can the situation spiral out of control? It probably already is. This is why the tune has changed of the military. The Pentagon is now talking about as long as it takes. We got infinite fucking weapons. We're striking their infrastructure now so they can't rebuild. Okay, so weren't the initial strikes supposed to be the ones that ended everything? Weren't you supposed to decapitate the government and then usher in a new leadership that was friendly to the West? That failed. Okay, now we're going after infrastructure, so that's expanding operations. That's mission creep. No, they have a name for it. Okay, so we're watching mission creep in real time now. So what happens after you degrade the easy infrastructure targets? And now you have to go underground. Okay, well, how do you deal with the undergrounds? I don't know. This shit sounds very complicated, like we didn't plan for any of this. You think you're going to bomb 91 million people into submission? Think again.
Outside its borders. And if I can just conclude by saying a strong salute to the brave men and women who are out on the pointy edge of this, really doing exceptional work. I just couldn't be prouder, and I know the American people share in that same pride. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll take a few questions. Yeah, right here.
Sir, appreciate it. Admiral, I wanted to ask, or Mr. Secretary, the Ukrainian president said today that the U.S. has asked for specific capabilities to deal with Shahid drones, Iranian drones. And you guys talked about what you asked for, and has there been any surprises from Iranian capabilities that you guys have seen in the past 6 days?
Go ahead.
We're very familiar with Iranian's capabilities, and as you might imagine, we planned for it right from the outset, and I feel good about what the plan was. Like any good organization, we adjust as necessary to meet the environment, and we've made those appropriate adjustments.
Absolutely. Right here.
What the fuck?
One, was an American pilot shot down today in Iraq, and two,
A word salad.
in which uranium stored in Isfahan. I'm also heard reports that
Yeah.
there's a bombing there.
We know their capabilities, and we've made adjustments when adjustments were necessary. What? The fuck does that even mean, bro? Do we have a clear objective? When are we pulling out? Exactly when is this all going to end? We got infinite bombs. We'll go as much as we have to go.
$5. The tariffs also directly targeted China's economy, caused factories to close, homelessness shot up. Watching news from China, they are blaming the US for it.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. We're galvanizing our enemies with this shit, dude. Disrupting the global supply chain of energy doesn't make friends for the United States. We're doing this at the behest of Israel. The world is going to hate us because Israel, because we're in the Middle East, because Israel. Do you know how easy it is for China to obviously galvanize support over their flailing economy now? Their economy is already flailing. They were having problems with real estate, with a bunch of other shit. Now they can all band together and blame America. It's so easy, dude. We're giving people reasons to hate us. Oh, you know why we're having problems? The fuel shortage. Why? Because the American empire just cannot stop bombing countries. They cannot stop going to war. Americans are bloodthirsty. What's wrong with the United States? It's going to be the easiest sell to the global population of any country, anywhere. Easiest propaganda we've ever had. Holy shit, dude.
Is that on purpose? Do we believe there's enriched uranium there? And would we ever send special forces to secure it?
As CENTCOM pointed out, that those reports of an F-15 being shot down are false. As you can imagine, Iran is doing everything it can to peddle in lies, deception, and inflation of numbers and reality, mostly to propagandize to their own people, right? They've shut down the internet. They're hoping they can convince their own population that they're having success. One thing one of their leaders said recently is that 500 Americans have been killed, they claim. These are lies. The lies will continue. CENTCOM will continue to debunk those lies. So, and as often is the case in conflict, first reports are often wrong. As it pertains to nuclear material and things like that, one of the objectives the president has always said is that Iran will not have a nuclear bomb, nuclear capabilities, but we would never disclose what we will or will not do inside operational plans. So Admiral Cooper's got a plan. We're working that plan, and targets will be struck or not struck according to what we want to achieve. Yeah, right there.
Secretary Hegseth, the president said earlier today in an interview that he would like to have a say in who's the next leader of Iran. Is this an expansion of your military objectives? Do you view it that way? And additionally, you spoke earlier today about how previous leaders have drawn resources from our hemisphere.
Wow, dude.
How do you avoid that?
Well, there's no expansion. Ultimately, I think the president's having a heck of a say in who runs Iran. given the ongoing operation we have. So there's no expansion in our objectives. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. I think today's a great example of what this War Department is capable of doing. I was just in another part of Florida today where we announced, America's Counter Cartel Conference. 18 countries coming together from Central, South America, and the Caribbean, coming together to fight cartels. That is something that is ongoing. We're focused there. We're focused in the Indo-Pacific. We can mass combat power in CENTCOM. EUCOM is able to support that as well. So we know we're laser focused on our hemisphere and our homeland. That's why we locked down the border. That's why we're working with partners to take on cartels. That's why we're sinking drug boats. That's why we're on the offense there. But the beautiful things about combatant commands is that, Brad Cooper's laser focused on Central Command, just like Frank Donovan is laser focused on Southern Command.
Are you getting stretched thin vibes here? Like the Empire is struggling at their frontiers? I'm getting these old Roman Empire vibes where, the frontiers are starting to cost too much money and the Empire inevitably shrinks because it can't defend them all. Are you guys not getting the same thing?
We can do both. That's what a global power can do.
You see, we can do both. And then what if we need to do something else in the Pacific with China? Like, geez, Louise, bro, are we stretched thin as an empire? Oh, my Lord.
Ultimately, this issue of Iran's nuclear pursuit and their unwillingness through negotiations to stop it.
Yeah, Matt Walsh had a really good take on the deportations. He said, if we're able to go to war with Iran and spend all this money and bomb them and plan all this like complex, missions and all this other shit, why couldn't we deport people here back home? Why couldn't we figure out all the Minnesota fraud with all the Somalis? Why didn't we arrest them all? Why haven't there been any public arrests of the Democrats that were clearly in cahoots with all the scamming for the Leering centers? What happened? So here back home, we got no Doge cuts. We got no arrests for massive fraud from massive amounts of immigrants. So our system is being abused. We can't even pass a simple bill to make sure that everybody has ID when they're voting. But what we can do is we can go to war with Iran. We can do exceptionally complex missions. But here back home, no.
Jacoby Williard 2,635 cent $4.99. I was gonna ask, what happens when our resources are distributed too much? Feels like a thinner wall to break through in a way.
Well, the same shit that happened with the Empire, dude. We won't be able to defend everything all at once. The destabilization is going to make other countries brave. There's a lot of things popping off all over the empire, all over the world. And if it disrupts global trade, that hurts us economically. Like, America benefits from the status quo. We benefit from the world as it was already. The petrodollar, the empire having the bases all over the world, being the hegemon, the only hegemon. Targeting something like Venezuela was like flicking a flea. It didn't matter because it was in our home turf, in our hemisphere, but also like Venezuela isn't shit for the rest of the world. There's no strait. There's no oil that goes around that matters on the global market in that sense. It's whatever. It's like taking over Ecuador. So I'm like, who gives a fuck about Ecuador? They have no impact on the rest of the world, right? But it's different with Iran. When 20-30% of global energy supplies go through the Strait of Hormuz, when you have a country of 90-something million people, when you have a country able to bomb the GCC, which is the rest of the energy-producing countries, that affects global supply dramatically. That destroys the status quo in real time. We're going to be dealing with those consequences 7, 14, 30 days from now. Why do you think we're going on these bombing runs? Why do you think they're intensifying everything and going after the infrastructure? They need this to end immediately and return to the status quo. We failed to topple the government. They've already elected a new leader. We failed to get uprising from the local population that may have some sentiment with the United States. That didn't work. There's no civil war. Now we're trying to partition it with the Kurds in the north and the Balochistan separatists in the southeast and whoever else. There's like 6 or 7 separatist groups that would like to partition off. That's failing. Still remains to be seen, but it seems like the Kurdistan separatist movement in the north failed. At least what early reports are saying. Okay, so if and someone, look, we have a retard failed to topple, they're all dead. Then why are they still launching fucking missiles? Then why did they vote for another leader? Why is there a plan of succession? Why is the government still functional? Who's calling the shots here? If we decapitated the snake, why are they still responding? Why do they still have a plan that's being implemented? So clearly we failed. Holy shit, bro. The fucking retards in the chat sometimes. Now we're arming the Kurds and hoping that the Kurds do a ground invasion and that it's powerful enough. Oops, it got stopped, apparently. Apparently, we don't know for sure. There's media blackouts everywhere. All the information is being essentially propagandized, and, you know, there's a narrative that needs to be passed.
It was something President Trump has said for a long time needs to be dealt with. And after 47 years, he's doing something that no other president was willing to do. And we're doing it overwhelmingly, and we're doing it decisively, while also in other parts of the globe having the desired effects. I mean, take, for example, what we displayed yesterday, the Iranian ship in the Indian Ocean, sunk by Indo-PACOM, another combatant command, who coordinated with us in order to make that happen. So America's reach is global.
Get your mugs from the store, boys.
Our focus here, though, these missions are narrow, they're scoped, and Admiral Cooper is well on his way to ensuring that we reach those objectives. Right here, yes, sir.
You know, Howard Altman, both condolences for your troops killed. Do the Ukrainians are talking about providing low-cost interceptors, given their experience? Is that something that the Pentagon is looking for? And Admiral Cooper, can you walk us through a little bit about the how effective the Lucas drones have been?
Yeah, if you think of it like this, the defense, the military-industrial complex, follow the money, right? It's always been like the easiest way to figure out what the fuck's going on with the world is just follow the money. Who benefits? Okay, the military-industrial complex. How do they benefit? Is it a protracted engagement or something quick in and out? Think about that for a second. Think about how much money there is to be made. War is a racket. Don't you guys remember? Like, you make money from war. They make a lot of money from war and misery. So think about that. Just on the money alone, I think this will drag on. Why do you think we had forever war? We could have ended Afghanistan inside of a couple of weeks. Could have literally obliterated the fuck out of every single person there. Instituted our own government and changed really nation build freely if we felt like it. We didn't on purpose. We lingered, we held, we maintained for a forever war. We never truly destroyed the Taliban because we didn't want to destroy the Taliban, because as long as the Taliban existed, we had a reason to be there. And the reason to be there was money, infinite printing of it. The defense industry, all the contractors were loving that shit. Just a battleground to test their fucking weapons on some dudes with AKs in caves and shit. It's all the money, boys. It's always been about the money. You think we gave a fuck, dude? We do have the best military in the world. We can fucking glass the whole Middle East. Literally, whenever we feel like it, we can seriously send in 1 million men with all our ships and everything that we have in glass and fucking steamroll these countries inside of like a week. Literally, inside of like a week, we can bomb the dog shit out of somebody and subjugate them, make them into slaves. Nobody can stop us. If we really wanted a war and ending it, it would be done, including Iran. We're just not willing to go all the way because that doesn't make you money. And no Americans back home are going to go for that shit. We could do it. We really could. Are we gonna? No. We're going to protract. We're going to loiter. We're going to sit around. We're going to do the bare minimum. Why? So we could start spinning up all that money. We need the money. We need the trillions of dollars that are about to be spent on a fucking war for Israel.
What kind of targets we've hit and how much that's helped, given that they're low-cost alternatives to the more expensive fueling. Go ahead.
Sure. I'm not familiar with the particular offer, but interceptors in general, we've had a number of new...
Yeah, every time you hear like special operation, engagement, missions, all that's bullshit. It's total war or nothing. That's it. You think if we had total war like World War II, if we retool the economy into a wartime economy, if we really felt like it? No, this is why, same thing. That's why Vietnam was lost. It's the same shit. We didn't have the guts to go all the way. Really what it is. You know, we're trying to maintain Iraq war, same shit. We need to maintain the narrative back home that we're the good guys. Hey, bro, you want to win a war, you're going to have to kill a bunch of innocent people. Optics don't look good for that. Are we supposed to be the good guys? Because it looks like we're the bad guys if we just roll into Iran and just start blasting everybody. You quite literally could level every single city, destroy all their infrastructure, turn it into fucking rubble, send in the ground troops, kill everybody that resist, shoot first on contact. Not some wait until you're engaged. No, fucking shoot first. Total annihilation. Like we could. We really could. But then you can't tell yourself you're the good guy anymore. That's the problem. So, hey, here we go with protracted engagements. Here we go. Regime change. Here we go with special military operations. Narrow scope of operations. So not total war. So then we don't have what it takes to win then. The fuck?
Capabilities being fielded. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it from an operational perspective of what those are. But I think you have seen over a period of time us kind of get on the other side of this cost curve on drones in general.
Yeah, it's the taxpayers that are getting fucked. We're paying for this, dude. That's correct. It's the taxpayers. The war is on the taxpayer. We're getting fucked. We pay more and more taxes to just send our money overseas to bomb countries. For what? What the fuck are we getting out of this? Are we getting cheaper oil, cheaper houses, cheaper anything? Are we like plundering all their resources? No, dude, we don't win here. The biggest winner here was Israel. Like if we topple Iran, Israel wins. We don't win. We don't gain anything. We get nothing. What the fuck do we get, dude? Are we like going in the mines and getting thousands of kilos of fucking gold and silver and precious metals and all of this shit that we need for our... Nothing. We don't get anything. We get our missiles depleted. That's it. And Americans dead. What are we getting from this? Where are the riches? When the Roman Empire took over the fucking Dacian, I wouldn't call it Dacia an empire, but the province of Dacia at the time, Rome experienced a boom. They built the Trajan's column. They had like 100 days of celebrations. Gold was like paved on the fucking streets everywhere. Hundreds of days of celebration. When they took over all the gold ores in the mines and everything that Dacia had to offer. It took them 2 fucking wars to subjugate them. And the empire reached its maximal peak in power and wealth after taking over the Dacian province. Are we getting the same? What are we getting from taking over? That's just what I'm asking here. Dude, if you're going to sell me on a world war and all this shit, like tell me where are the riches? How are we benefiting? No, the main reason we win is because maybe one day they will bomb Israel, maybe. Huh? I can't buy a house. Most of us can't afford a wife. Food's too expensive. Car payments cost too much. We don't want to pay 15 years for car notes. 50 years for a fucking mortgage. Okay? We can't afford to go to school. Everything's too expensive. The jobs are disappearing. AI is around the corner. What am I getting? Sounds like I'm getting a bunch of fucking nothing but taxes. That's crazy, bro. Sell me on something. Let me feel like the empire is worth fighting for, because it isn't. At this moment, no man thinks the empire is worth fighting for. We're not getting what we need. We can hardly survive. Why are there homeless people on the fucking streets, dude? War brides. Right? Where are the honeys at? Where are the Persian honeys? Nowhere. Not getting any Persian honeys. Instead, we get more homeless people everywhere. Instead, we get more illegal immigrants everywhere. Oh, but Trump closed the border. Oh, but he brings in infinite fucking H-1B Indians still. So, they just changed. The Democrats brought in millions of illegals. The Republicans bring in millions of legal immigrants. Millions of Chinese to go to our colleges and prop up our education system. And we get millions of fucking H-1B Indians, dude. Awesome. I get tikka masala. No honeys, big taxes, pushed out of my own house, can't afford fucking anything. And then I'm forced to pay for all of it. Awesome, bro. Totally.
Remember what you used to always hear? We're shooting down a $50,000 drone with a $2 million missile. These days, we're spending a lot of time
Russian pussies
shooting
explosive.
down $100,000 drones with $10,000 weapons from ours. So that's one aspect of it. Lucas, indispensable. As many of you know, and if you don't know, this was an original Iranian drone design. We captured it, pulled the guts out, sent it back to America, put a little Made America on it, brought it back here, and we're shooting it at the Iranians. Good targets.
Yeah, good targets. But he didn't mention how Iran downed, what was that? Iran downed that spy drone from Israel. What is it? Iran downed Israel drone. A Hermes 900 drone shot down and they got it in one fucking piece, dude, including the weapons aboard. That's great. Look at that. No, nobody is reporting this shit. Nobody. Fucking hell. Of course nobody is reporting it. $20 million drone. What's this fucking thing called? Hermes? Nothing, bro. When you click on the news, nothing. Oh, it's 3 days ago from the time of Israel. Look at this. Iran's IRGC claims downing of Hermes drone in Kerman. Claimed, there's literal fucking pictures of it. If you go to the images, will it show the images? Here it is, bro. It's in fucking intact. Look. That's the local news. Look at this fucking thing. $20 million. They have it intact. You don't think China's on the way with experts? Right now, what is this, a reconnaissance drone? They're about to reverse engineer this fucking thing. There goes your secrets. Yeah, spy drone. There you go. IRGC shoots down Israel's Hermes 900 spy drone. Good fucking job there. You don't get told any of this, do you? Do you see what I'm telling you? How much bullshit there is with the media? Look at this fucking guy. He's just standing in front of it. Look. Look at the pictures. Everything. All the advanced equipment. All the surveillance equipment. Including the missiles. Unexploded ordnance on top of that. Fucking incredible. No one told you, right? Did you hear about this? No, you hear about our cheap Lucas drones. We took their Shaheeds. We reverse engineered some fiberglass piece of shit. And then we're going to shoot it back at them. See, America, it's not costing us too much money. Meanwhile, China's on the way with their top engineering experts. And they're both working together. They're probably reverse engineering and about to mass produce this fucking drone. $20 million. Probably a cutting edge drone. Hermes 900. Look at this thing. What is this exactly? Is an Israeli medium-sized multi-payload, medium-altitude, long-endurance unmanned aerial vehicle designed for tactical missions. Its successor to the 450, one of the most widely used military drones in the world. Wow. And you just gave Iran all of the tech. Incredible. Awesome, dude. Don't you just love our leadership, yeah?
Good targets. Absolutely. Right there.
Thank you so much, Secretary. President Trump, in his first speech after the launch of the Operation Epic Fury, he addressed Iranian people and he said that there is going to be a time for you to come out, but it's not now. Stay home. It's not safe. I want to know if there is a timeline for that you're going to urge Iranian people to come out, how that is going to play out, and how are you going to protect the protesters? You know that they're going to be shot probably, as we witnessed in January. That's what happened. How are you going to protect and support the protesters? And Admiral, I have one question for you. How are you going to minimize the civilian harms? we have a lot of
They did jam
evidence
it and land it.
that
Yeah, they took control of it.
units, IRGC commanders, they are now gathering in schools, in hospitals, in purely residential areas because their headquarters are bombarded, they are ruined, of course. So how are you going to protect the civilians while you're attacking the IRGC people hard?
Hermes.
I would just say on the protests, obviously a lot Iranian people.
Hermes.
The Iranian people showed a lot of courage in those protests, and we saw the Iranian regime revealed for what it is in the way they reacted to that. The
Later on, Resco.
No one's done more than President Trump to reopen the opportunity for those who want a free Iran to do so.
Shackle Bomber 900.
It's common sense, as he said up front. Don't go out and protest while bombs are dropping inside Tehran and elsewhere. So there will come a moment where he determines, or they determine, that it's the time to seize that advantage. But there's a lot of things we're doing, and the Israeli military is doing, targeting those individuals who are targeting those who protest. The more you do that, and you erode their will and you erode their capabilities, the more you create an opportunity for people to boldly stand up.
Yeah, I would just reinforce the point.
So, wow, our entire mission planning is hopefully we bomb them enough that people rise up. Really? Hey, if we just keep bombing them, hopefully, some of the citizens stand up and make a difference. You know, the same citizens whose, like, you know, cousin or brother or sister's mom just died in a separate bombing of some infrastructure in Tehran. Yeah, those people are going to stand up and they're going to become allies of America. Have we even thought this through? It sounds like we're just winging some shit right now.
We're targeting the people, or we're targeting the headquarters and the people who are targeting the protesters, first and foremost. I'd also just double down on the president's comments that he previously made to the people. Stay in your homes, keep things calm, stay out of the way. There's a lot of U.S. and Israeli capacity coming over.
So we're dropping hella bombs on you. Don't go to work. Don't have a living. Stay in your houses while we bomb the shit out of your country and thank us for it. You see, we're bringing you freedom and democracy. And so once we're done bringing you this democracy and with all this payload that's coming over, and just while you're sitting in your house starving to death and have no water, okay, if you just hang on for weeks until we bomb the shit out of the rest of the government, then you can like come in and form your own. Are you fucking serious? This is really what we're talking about right now. Am I insane? Because somebody's going to say I have TDS. I need to trust the plan, right? Am I insane for questioning this? This is our plan, guys. Holy fuck.
And a lot of targets, the best thing for them to do for right now is just to lay low.
Right here.
Secretary, one common outcome of American military action in the past has been taking in thousands of refugees into the American homeland, and I'm wondering if there's any safeguards put in place to make sure that the American people aren't having to have another wave of refugees from the Middle East or anywhere else come and stay here.
I think it's safe to say there's no plan for a wave of new Middle Eastern refugees to the United States of America. I think as the president has pointed out for a long time, there are a lot of countries in the region who would be capable of providing that kind of support if need be, but that's certainly not.
What's going to happen? Is this a Syria 2.0? Is America about to dump all of them on Europe? Can you imagine that? We're going to destabilize and partition Iran, and then millions of Iranians are going to just absolutely be displaced into what? Europe? Get the fuck out of here, dude. You're going to flood Europe with refugees? Holy shit. Let's bring about the rise of nationalism and ultra-nationalism in Europe. Like, this is second and third order effects that are about to happen. So if we destabilize Iran, partition it into 6 different states, flood Europe with even more fucking refugees, what's going to happen in the next 30 years or so? Now you're going to have ultra right-wing nationalists, far-right nationalists rising in Europe to kick everybody out. Fucking A, dude. Yeah, Europe is full already? Apparently not. Apparently not. There's countries close by in the region where you could just go. You think the fucking GCC states are going to take all these Iranians? No. Where the fuck is Iranians? Where are they going to go? Iraq, it's a failed state. Syria, failed state. Afghanistan, failed state. You think Turkey will accept any Iranians? Turkey seems to be like, oh, we're on the side of Iran, but kind of not really. Who's going to take them? Turkey's already getting paid by Europe to keep all these fucking Syrians instead of flooding Europe with more of them. No one's taking them. Russia will take them for meat shields? Holy fuck. Yeah, give them to Ukraine. Jesus Christ. No, I don't even know what to say. This sounds like a shit. This sounds like complete shit.
Yeah, back there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Michael in Washington Times. I wanted to ask, I know, Semper Gumby is always a truism in the military. Did the British decision to refuse Diego Garcia have any impact on the mission itself? Did you have to adjust, or were you able to just completely, go with the mission without even worrying about that?
Well, as the president stated, it was unfortunate that that the Brits didn't, from day one, say, "Hey, go ahead and have access." But we got there. We got there, and that's now part of the way that we're operationalizing bomber runs. And as part of when we say more to come, it's more fighter squadrons, it's more capabilities, it's more defensive capabilities, and it's more bomber pulses more frequently. The amount of firepower over Iran and over Tehran is about to surge dramatically. And part of it is that we're going to have even more basing. And it's not just the UK. We've had other friends step up, and we're grateful for that. Maybe one more right here.
Yeah, the Azeri president earlier today basically authorized his Minister of Defense to begin preparing troops for some type of retaliatory action after the airport strike. Has the Department of War and CENTCOM been working on deconflicting with the Azeri if they were to move in or attempt something in retaliation?
I'm sure there are plans, and I'll let the Admiral speak to that. But that does allow me to kind of address this idea that the war might be expanding, or there's chaos, and nothing could be further from the truth. If anything, what Iran is doing by targeting allied countries that would otherwise want to stay out of this, they've actually pulled them into the American orbit. So now you've got UAE and Qatar and Bahrain and Saudi and Kuwait and others saying, "Hey, we're with you. We'll shoot with you. We'll fly with you. We'll defend with you. We'll allow you more basing and other a lot of which we can't talk about. We won't talk about. But it's actually firming up the unity of the resistance in order to focus exactly where we need to. So this idea that it's expanding or going, no, it's actually simplifying in a number of ways exactly what we need to achieve and how we'll achieve it. I don't know if you.
I won't get ahead of policy in terms of what we might do. What I will point out is this is now the 12th country that Iran has attacked. 12 countries, and it goes right back to the Secretary's point. Those 12 countries are none too happy, and I look forward to working with all the partners who are willing to join us in this.
Bro, he literally said, "Hey, don't worry about it. We're not expanding the war at all. What's actually happening is we're firming up an alliance of all the GCC states that got attacked, who are already fucking useless and have no military and dog shit at fighting and war and everything. But also at the same time, we're about to drop so much fucking ordnance on Iran. We're expanding our capability." So what is it? Are we expanding our capabilities in the war? Or are we... What are we doing here? The GCC states are going to come into a coalition, and that'll mean that America doesn't have to do as much as it should. They're going to pull their weight. Really? How fucking stupid do you have to be? Yeah, expanding. Yes, but no. Yeah, kind of, but not really. We're just going to drop extra ordnance. We're not expanding anything. And then, GCC states are going to come in and help us. Oh, so you are expanding operations. No, we're just going to bomb them more. So expanding operations? No, just more bombs. Okay, so more planes and more material being flown over. Yeah, but that doesn't mean more war. We're just bombing. It's not war. It's just bombs. Huh? What the fuck?
I'll just close by saying...
Mr. Secretary, one more question. What is your message to Americans who are concerned about security here at home with the change-up that we're going to see at the Department of Homeland Security?
Well, I think Kristi Noem did an excellent job over there securing our border and keeping us focused on threats. And President making a change. We all serve at the pleasure of the president. I'm sure Mark Wayne Mullen will do a fantastic job. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. But Christie did a great job setting us up for success. So I don't have any concerns about whether or not the homeland will be covered down on. And I'll just end by saying I wish every American could get a chance to see what we see. I had a chance to go into the control room, into the Tactical Operations Center, go see these young men and women that are doing this, the dedication that they show at every level, the way they've refined their craft. Now, I'm talking to a young colonel who's iterating on how we target and how we find and fix different aspects of what the Iranians are trying to do. If they don't know what they're up against.
God damn, bro, don't come so hard. Do you see this guy's getting like orgasmic at bombing people and shit? What the fuck am I watching?
And if they think they've got it solved for, they're wrong. And ultimately, the combination of our ingenuity, the skill, the professionalism, the discipline, and then the sheer weight of the capabilities of the U.S. military, what you're going to see may look routine. It may start to be like, oh, another boat. Oh, another launcher. Oh, another drone facility. What it takes to do this with the precision that we do is world-class. No one else can do it. And it's world-class Americans. Like the ones I saw here, like the ones that are coming home that we're going to greet home, that are the engine of what makes our country great. And so I'm so grateful for folks like those here at CENTCOM, at Central Command, who are under your...
Jesus Christ, dude. The amount of glaze.
Government. Okay,
we'll continue with this. That shit's crazy. He's going to watch himself later in the bedroom. Holy hell.
To try to get as much instability as possible. All right? Okay, and as you can see, the Americans and Israelis are focused on Tehran. And so the Americans and the Israelis use something we call shock and awe. And the very...
We'll finish this one. We'll finish there's 20 more minutes. We'll go on Kick for that, guys. If you guys haven't already, I'll post it up on YouTube, the link. Let's go for Kick, and then we'll call it. Thank you, YouTube fam. Posting this up for you. Join us over on Kick, and then I'll do a little Q&A. And that'll be it for today. We'll get back on tomorrow. We'll cover some normal topics tomorrow. And then start getting those reports out for people. Take care, everybody on YouTube. We'll see you guys later.